Imagine dying, and someone buries you in your aunt's floral pajamas. Now imagine that, but make it ancient Egypt. Welcome to tomb KV55, the Valley of the King's most awkward burial. When archaeologists cracked it open in 1907, they expected grandeur. Gold, glory, a divine name etched in hieroglyphs. Instead, a royal mess. Literally. First red flag, the coffin was made for a woman, feminine shape, pretty details, nice curves. Except, the body inside was very much male. A confused pharaoh cosplaying as Queen Tai. Not quite, but it was already giving off strong, someone tried to cover this up fast vibes. Artifacts were dumped like a teenager packing for college. Objects were smashed. Rituals, skipped. Ceremony. Who needs that when you're erasing a life? Egyptologists were baffled. And by baffled, we mean nervously squinting at a mummy who clearly wasn't where he was supposed to be. Either someone royally screwed up the burial, or this guy had powerful enemies who didn't even want him to have a decent afterlife. Ancient cancel culture. Brutal. If your name is missing from your grave, ancient Egyptians believed your soul basically got ghosted for eternity. So when they found tomb KV55 and noticed the name had been literally chiseled off every surface, the coffin, the wall bricks, the decorative cartouches, they knew something shady had gone down. Imagine someone breaking into your Facebook after you died and deleting every photo, post, and memory of you. But like, with a chisel and 3,000-year-old anger issues. That's KV55. The golden mask? Gone. The inscriptions? Gone. It's the ancient Egyptian version of being unfriended by history itself. The erasure wasn't casual either, it was a full-blown purge. Whoever this poor pharaoh was, someone really wanted them forgotten. And if that doesn't scream conspiracy with eyeliner, I don't know what does. You don't just scrape names off sarcophagi unless you're sending a message. The message was clear. You were important enough to bury like royalty, but we hate you enough to delete you from existence. This is less of a rest in peace and more of a rot in obscurity. So who gets this kind of treatment? A pharaoh who broke the rules, defied tradition, and made enemies in very high places. Which leads us to our next royal suspect. Let's talk about Akhenaten, the ancient world's ultimate drama king. He cancelled Egypt's whole pantheon, fired all the priests, and said, "Hey guys, from now on, we're worshipping just one god, and his name is Aten. Also, I'm the only person who can talk to him. You're welcome." That's like becoming CEO of Religion TM and replacing all the departments with a sunbeam. For 17 years, Akhenaten did exactly that. He built a new capital, changed the art style, made everything weirdly elongated and possibly alien-looking. Historians still can't decide if he was a revolutionary genius or just off his royal rocker. But one thing's for sure, he ticked off the establishment. And when he died, the new regime wanted no trace of him left. Worship of Aten? Gone. His city? Abandoned. His name? Scratched out like your ex's face in a yearbook, which makes him a perfect candidate for KV55, wrong coffin, no name, chaotic burial, and a posthumous hit job. Only problem, the mummy didn't seem to fit, at first. Here's where it gets messy. When the body in KV55 was first examined, scientists thought the dude died at around 20 to 25 years old. Which would make it kind of hard to be Akhenaten, you know, the guy who reigned for nearly 2 decades, fathered kids, changed religion, redesigned art, and ruined Egypt's entire theological vibe. That's a lot to cram into a quarter-life crisis. So everyone went, aha, it's not him. Mystery solved. It must be someone else. Case closed. Except, no. Fast forward to the 1990s when medical imaging got fancy. CT scans, bone density analysis, digital wizardry, the works. And guess what? Turns out the mummy wasn't 20, more like 35 to 45. Cue dramatic music. Suddenly, our heretic king was back on the suspect list. The age fit. The DNA fit. The bone structure? Kinda fit. And honestly, no one else had the combo of royal DNA, divine scandal, and enough enemies to warrant a delete from history campaign. But here's the kicker. Even with updated science, some scholars still weren't buying it. Because this is Egyptology, and disagreement is basically a sport. In 2010, Egypt went full CSI, Thebes, and ran a genetic study on 11 royal mummies. It was like an ancient family reunion, minus the awkward hugs. Led by Dr. Zahi Hawass, the study revealed something wild. The KV55 mummy was definitely the biological father of King Tut. Boom, even more scandalous? Tut's mom turned out to be the younger lady, herself the daughter of Amenhotep III and Queen Tiye, which means KV55 was also their son, meaning the guy in KV55 was either Akhenaten or someone with disturbingly similar DNA, like sibling-level similar, because yes, the royal family tree was less of a tree and more of a tumbleweed of incest. So now we have this weirdly specific combo. 1. Male, 2. Around 35 to 45. 3. Son of Amenhotep III and Tiye. 4. Father of Tutankhamun, which basically screams Akhenaten from the top of a solar obelisk. But wait, it's ancient Egypt. There's always a twist. Enter Smenkhkare, Egypt's version of that guy you saw once in high school and then never again. Nobody knows exactly who he was, what he ruled, or even what gender he might have been. Some say he was Akhenaten's brother. Others whisper he was a woman in disguise, and a few brave Egyptologists just go, honestly. We made the name up to fill in the awkward historical silence. Smenkkare's entire reign is like a glitch in the Pharaoh matrix. His name pops up on a couple artifacts, but it's unclear if he ruled on his own, co-ruled with Akhenaten, or just stood in the background holding papyrus. If KV55 isn't Akhenaten, then Smenkhkare is the second most likely option, mostly because nobody else fits the DNA bill. There's even a wild theory that Smenkhkare was actually Neferuaten, a female ruler, possibly Nefertiti, cosplaying as a male pharaoh during the royal succession scramble. Because nothing screams political chaos like slapping a fake beard on a queen and saying, "She's pharaoh now, everyone act normal." But again, no inscriptions in the tomb, no crowns, no bling. Just a blank slate and a whole lot of confusion. So Smenkhkare stays as the historical equivalent of some guy. Let's talk about the ancient world's most savage form of revenge, damnatio memoriae. It's Latin for condemnation of memory, which basically means we hate you so much we're erasing your existence from the cosmos. To the ancient Egyptians, this was worse than death. Being remembered was everything. Your name had power. Your soul lived on through inscriptions, statues, and random tourists taking selfies with your sarcophagus 3,000 years later. But if your name got chiseled off, your soul was done. Poof, eternal blackout. KV55 is the ultimate crime scene for damnatio memoriae. Name scratched out? Check. Golden mask missing? Check. Burial chaotic and disrespectful? Triple check. It wasn't just a cover-up, it was a royal hit job, complete with afterlife cancellation. And guess who definitely got this treatment after death? Akhenaten. The moment he died, Egypt snapped back to its old gods like a teenager reactivating Instagram after a spiritual retreat. They buried the Aten cult, rebuilt the temples, and tried to erase him like a glitch in divine history. So if KV55 is this erased, disgraced, and desecrated, yeah. Odds are it's our boy Akhenaten. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. Okay, so here's a fun little riddle. You walk into a tomb that's clearly a disaster. Wrong coffin, no name, historical hate crime. But then bam, you spot something that screams royal VIP, magical bricks. These aren't just any bricks, they're enchanted, inscribed funeral bricks placed near the mummy to protect it in the afterlife. Think of them as the ancient Egyptian version of spiritual home security. Here lies someone important. Please don't let demons eat their soul. And guess whose name was etched into these bricks? Akhenaten's. That's right, while someone was busy chiseling his identity off the coffin like a jealous ex, they somehow missed the magical bricks going, by the way, this is Akhenaten's setup. KTAX by. So now you've got mixed signals, like it's a toxic breakup. Half the tomb wants him remembered, the other half wants him obliterated. It's like throwing someone a surprise funeral and then unfriending them at the same time. The presence of these bricks strongly suggests the tomb was intended for Akhenaten. At least originally. But somewhere along the line, someone hit the panic button, and instead of moving him, they just trashed the place and walked away. Imagine living your whole life as a divine king and then getting dumped in a second-hand tomb, stripped of your name, tossed in the wrong coffin, and surrounded by passive-aggressive bricks. Ancient Egypt really didn't do half measures. Let's recap what our mystery corpse had to endure. Buried in a woman's coffin. Check. Name violently erased? Check. Gold mask missing? Yep. Artifacts shattered. You bet. Posthumous disrespect on a biblical level? Oh, absolutely. KV55 isn't just a tomb, it's a roast. The burial was rushed, chaotic, and devoid of the royal pomp ancient Egypt obsessed over. It's like going to your own wedding and finding out it's being held in a drive-through parking lot with no cake and a DJ that plays only kazoo covers. To ancient Egyptians, proper burial rituals weren't just about dignity. They were how you unlocked the afterlife. No proper rites, no eternal chill zone. Just a lonely ghost wandering the desert sands, wondering where it all went wrong. If this was Akhenaten, it means one of the most radical figures in Egyptian history. The king who dared to rewrite religion, architecture, and power was tossed into a crypt like a disgraced intern. His enemies didn't just kill his legacy, they shoved it in a broken box and set it on fire metaphorically. So yeah, KV55 might not look fancy, but it's one of the loudest silences in history. Let's say you're a scientist. You have DNA from 11 royal mummies, cutting-edge imaging tech, and thousands of pages of hieroglyphic records. Surely you can solve a 3,000-year-old murder mystery, right? Ha! Welcome to Egyptology, where even science throws up its hands and says, I mean probably. Despite all the high-tech wizardry, CT scans, genome mapping, radiocarbon dating, we still don't have a conclusive identity for the KV55 mummy. Why? Because ancient Egyptian royalty loved inbreeding. You know that diagram of a family tree? Theirs looked like someone microwaved a pretzel. Everyone's related to everyone. Tutankhamun? Born from full siblings. Akhenaten? Possibly married one of his daughters. DNA matches like father and son get fuzzier when your ancestors are also your cousins, nieces, and ex-girlfriends. It's a genetic Venn diagram that just screams, please stop asking questions. So when the tests came back saying KV55 was the father of Tut and the son of Amenhotep III and Tiye, scientists went, okay. Akhenaten probably. But even they couldn't say it with 100% confidence. Because in a dynasty where your family reunion doubles as a speed dating event, the margin of error is built in. In the end, science took us closer than ever. But even lasers and mitochondrial markers can't fully overwrite a 3,000-year-old cover-up. Let's zoom out. Tomb KV55 isn't just a whodunit, it's a why does it exist. It's the only tomb in the Valley of the Kings with no name, no gold, and no clear purpose. It's like an empty folder on your desktop labeled totally not a pharaoh's tomb. Every part of it screams contradiction, built with care, then trashed with rage. Furnished with royal artifacts, then stripped of all honor, protected by magic bricks, then erased from history. This wasn't a respectful burial. It was a panic dump, a reaction, a shove him in there and pretend it didn't happen situation. Whether this was Akhenaten, Smenkhkare, or some poor prince with the worst luck in dynastic politics, one thing's clear, this wasn't just a burial. It was a statement, a monument to disgrace, a last-minute attempt to bury a legacy no one wanted to admit existed. And somehow, that silence, that deliberate erasure, ended up screaming louder than any golden mask ever could.